Shalom Yashrallah, this your brother Dawada, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakak Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of great millstone that taught us this truth and our will. And salutation and much love for you, Aki, and pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So I'll jump into this here article real fast as we're starting to see, so we're getting closer and closer to the end of the implementation of the MOTB. That great temptation is coming upon the whole earth, where you're going to be in a position to where, like the scriptures say, that great temptation, when you go into that word, that great temptation, it's going into, basically a test of your faith. You're going to be enticed to sin, all right, to see, hey, do you really believe in the Lord, or do you what? You believe in, into Esau, and Esau's going to fix these things for you, all right? So this one says most Americans concerned about making ends meet, forgive me if I, quote unquote, say I'm repeating myself on certain things. I just try to record this video, but then there was an issue with it. But nevertheless, going back and re-recording now, and one of the things I was saying was, hey, you got the Roe versus Wade Supreme Court hearing thing. And, right now people are actually, protesting and uproaring over these things. All right, instead of their cost of living. You know what I'm saying? Because but as a side note, I was speaking on this as well, as far as we living in a time where, things is going to keep getting worse. Like the scripture says, it's going to be a time like never before since there was a nation, even into the same time. All right. So things are going to keep getting worse and worse and worse. So don't have in your mind things are going to ever get better and everything else like this. But a lot of these things are also set up, for, their agendas. All right. But nevertheless, let's stick to this here topic as far as, more of this, the grinding coming to a cease. All right, the great city failing and everything else like that. All these things are coming to pass economically, but like the scriptures say, famines and all these things were sent for amendments. All right, and but for all these things, all these things that was coming to pass, these judgments that was coming to pass on them, they're not turning from these things, man. All right, and I was speaking on how at a time like this where you have rising house prices, rent prices, unemployment rates, all right, gas prices, grocery store prices, all these things is going up right now. You have people that's in an uproar about pretty much offing their children, all right, and this is all demonic because look, not so long ago you had one of these little Edomites going off a whole bunch of little children and everything in school, and they were sad about that. But then now all of a sudden they try to overturn something where you can't offer your children while they're in the womb, even younger children. You know what I'm saying? And they all up in arms with that, man. So you just dealing with these demons over here, man. But nevertheless, hey, man, let them keep turning up because, hey, this is bringing us closer and closer to our deliverance, all right? But nevertheless, it says most Americans concerned about making ends meet. Nearly 2/3 of respondents are worried about affording day-to-day things, all right? Now, I wanted to grab this here scripture a little earlier. Let me get it. Because it says nearly 2/3 of respondents are worried about affording their day-to-day things. All right, now in the scriptures, it speak about this is Job 5:19. It says, "He shall deliver thee in 6 troubles, yea, in 7 there shall no evil touch thee. And famine he shall redeem thee from death, and in war from the power of the sword. Thou shalt be hid from the scourge of the tongue, neither shalt thou be afraid of destruction when it cometh. At destruction and famine thou shalt laugh, neither shalt thou be afraid of the beasts of the earth." All right. So, hey, the Lord said he was going to deliver his elect. All right. And in famine and death, that we would be laughing at these things. All right. Let me grab this other precept real fast in Isaiah 65:13. It says, Therefore, thus saith Yahweh power, behold, my servant shall eat, but you shall be hungry. Behold, my servant shall drink, but you shall be thirsty. Behold, my servant shall rejoice, but you shall be ashamed. Behold, my servant shall sing for joy of heart, but you shall cry for sorrow of heart, and shall howl for vexation of spirit. So going into these things, man, we can read about how the Lord's servants are going to be eating. They're going to be rejoicing. They're going to be laughing at famine. They're not going to, again, they would be right there, like how we are right now. Hey, man, we all affected by, the gas. It's not like, you go to the gas station and then you can scan, I'm of the elect, so I got to get cheaper gas than everybody else is getting. Nah, man. But the Lord will make a provision for you to be able to get that gas, so it's not, breaking your bank, man. All right, so you're not out here just, how these people out here, is hurting for themselves, man. All right, you have all these different things that's going on. These people are look at their faces in the grocery store lines and everything else like that, man. Listen to the tone of these people's voices and things like that. And it's kind of funny and ironic that these people are more in uproars about the Supreme Court overturning. And, again, a lot of these things is being set up by Esau as far as these little riots or we call protests and things like that. A lot of that be set up, by Esau. But, hey, you would think that the people would be more outraged at the price that they're paying at the pump, at the gas station, or for food prices, man. All right, for housing prices. But that's not what they get up in uproars over. They're getting up in uproars over, whether or not that they can keep being Tatianas out here, super promiscuous and pretty much flush their children. You know what I'm saying? But, hey, this is where we at right now, man. Demonic ass Babylon the Great. They confused, man. All right, because again, let's make a distinction here. First and foremost, it was the reason I brought these here's scriptures out, because in the article it says 2/3 of these people. Let's get back to that real quick. It says nearly 2/3 of respondents are worried about affording day-to-day things. So, hey, and that's spiritual, because 2/3 are going to get cut off and they're going to die. Speaking of the children of Israel, but the 1/3 and 144,000, the Lord, is going to protect and provide for them. All right. So now from, the hopeful elect's point of view, all right, Lord's will, I'm a part of that number. Hey, man, we not worried about these things. We laughing, we're rejoicing, and if anything, we like call halal Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Let us hasten the day of the Lord. All right, hey, we hope that the Lord will speed up these times. The Lord keep bringing more and more of this stuff coming to pass. Hey, the Lord's will. The Lord will speed up the times to where everything is super expensive. You can't afford it. They ain't got no choice but to what? Be enticed. That great temptation. Be enticed by the great temptation is coming over the whole earth. All right, that no man might be able to buy or sell save he that had the mark. All right, and like the scripture say, when he's about to fill his belly, the Most High shall rain it upon him. All right, he's going to disappoint the device of his enterprise. So his hands cannot perform his enterprise. Roughly paraphrasing, the Lord is going to stop all these things. So, hey, Lord's will that these things continue to speed up in time, more or less to say. But 2/3 of these people, it says nearly 2/3 of respondents are worried about affording day-to-day things. All right, and like I said, if these people, these 2/3 out here, if they had eyes to see, like with just regular common sense, because again, spiritually, hey, we want this place to go down. All right, but for 2/3, like I said, if they had common sense for their position, all right, they would be more up in arms over these things, that they can be able to afford certain things, but they're not. They're more worried about all this little BS and the stuff that's going on, that in the the entertainment pieces and portions of America, the bread and circuses and things like that. They're more concerned about that, or the things that they're being pushed to so-called, to hold in high regard. Like, for instance, the Supreme Court ruling. You got Jakes nowadays. It's not just this. It was some other things as well, too. It's like, with the pandemic and the what do you call it? The juicy juice, right? You had more and more Jakes all of a sudden that's becoming, and then when the elections came around, you got more and more Jakes that's all of a sudden become political, become doctors, become this and become that. All of a sudden, now becoming part of what law. I'm an expert in the law and this and that. Like, bro, y'all just bandwagoners. They told y'all this is what y'all should be jumping for joy for, and this is now all of a sudden y'all repeating these same terms because. What I'm saying, there's a lot of this shit don't make sense, but when we allow these people to tell it, you hear them saying the same terms and everything else like that. But nevertheless, this is what these people are more concerned about right now. Instead of the actual livelihood of, hey, I can't afford gas, can't afford housing, can't afford groceries and things like that, man. All right, but hey, they're blinded. So it says nearly 2/3 of respondents were worried about affording day-to-day things. Some 65% of Americans were concerned about being able to afford day-to-day things, according to YouGov CBS News poll published on Monday. Almost 3/4 of respondents, 73%, say they were concerned about their ability to save money. All right. Now, going into, deeper into these numbers, 99.9% of these people that they're talking about is Edomites, all right, or well-off-to-do Jakes, all right, because the majority of these damn Jakes, they don't have a real economic growth mindset of anything else. Like they don't believe in actually saving money. You know what I'm saying? They save money with, oh shit, this shit is going on sale. Let me go ahead and get this, buy one, get one half off. You know what I'm saying? That, that's their part about saving. They don't really have actual savings. Right? A lot of Jakes don't even have bank accounts, but nevertheless, you have, these Edomites that are more concerned about these things. These are the ones that's watching the economy. All right. Now it'll say, And let me read this next one. It says 2/3 of poll respondents were concerned about whether they could afford to take a vacation or travel. All right. So again, a lot of these Edomites and stuff like that, because a lot of them, they travel every year, once a year for their little vacation and everything else like that. And looking ahead, they're worried about these things. But then again, you got Jake that's jumping on the bandwagon. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do that. But in reality, Jake's still out here doing it because I know personally for some Jakes just like this, just like, yo, y'all got regular people jobs, if beneath regular people jobs, and y'all travel like every weekend for a damn vacation and everything else. Like, how is y'all affording like gas and food and everything else like that? But then they say, oh, I ain't gonna let this this the stuff that's going on, this negativity that's going on, is how they put it, affect my life. I'm still gonna be living my best life. But it's like, all right, and we'll see how you fare in 2 and 3 months later. Don't call me asking me for no money though, because you want to go out here and be wasting up your money on vacation and everything else like that. Jake will sit there and spend their damn rent money Friday night in a club, popping bottles and everything like that, just to be calling you up Monday morning because they got to pay their rent. All right. But hey, this is how Jake is. They don't really be worried about saving their damn money or nothing like that. They just go off impulse. All right. So it says 2/3 of respondents were concerned about whether they could afford to take a vacation or travel, while 70% said that they were worried about being able to afford retirement. And again, these are predominantly these Edomites because they're the ones with 401k plans and everything else like that. And a lot of them, they've already ran through their damn 401ks. They ran through their savings through these last couple years, and now they're living off of credit. And that line of credit is actually coming to an end. All right, so this is why they're actually upset, starting to see these things. And you see them, the city of Mirth is starting to mourn. All right, 2/3 of respondents were concerned about whether they could afford to take a vacation, while 70% said they were worried about being able to afford retirement. Of those with children under the age of 18, 60% were anxious about being able to afford childcare. Those worries were part of bleak overall outlook on the economy, with 75% of the poll respondents rating it fairly bad or very bad. Asked how things in America today are going, 60% responded that it was worse than they had expected at the start of the year. And fully 69% expected the economy to slow down or into a full-blown recession within the next year. Again, you could tell just by how these people answer these things that they was Edomites, because Jake, they'd be like, don't bring that negativity over here. We still balling and ain't got shit, A majority, 59% of this also disapproved of the job Joe Biden was doing, particularly regarding inflation and the economy. Those two issues were similarly rated as the highest priority problem for the country to address, whereas investigating January 6th, 2021 was rated dead last behind the pandemic outbreak and climate change. All right, so and these folks, they're again, these Edomites that they're over here, they more worried about the damn economy that's going down. But you got Jake women out there talking about some Roe versus Wade and all this stuff. That's a big thing that's going on right now. But hey, man, let them keep going out. Let them just keep turning up, because hey, the Most High is marking them. Hey, it's all good. All right. It says the president has seen the approval ratings crater as inflation has soared to a nearly all-time high, and gas prices break records on a weekly, if not daily basis. All right. So, hey, and these people are saying that, let me read this last paragraph. Another poll conducted last week found a whopping 97% of Americans believe rising prices were a crisis, at the very least a problem, with gas prices singled out as a particularly dire issue. And 91% of respondents said that they believe that the president has at least some power to get soaring costs under control. And in reality, it's the your leaders of this here place is the one that's causing all this, the uprising, right? So it says, let me jump down to this. While Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen recently insisted a recession was not inevitable, many economists disagree, and some predicted the U.S. will not be the only nation thus impacted. The CEO of Deutsche Bank has also warned a global recession is likely before the end of 2023. So we're getting closer and closer and closer to the day of, well, we can read it because I done quoted it a couple of times already, but Revelation 3:10, it says, because I was kept the word of my patience, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. All right. So as you see, as we're getting closer and closer to these times where there's a global economic collapse. All right, it's going to bring people to what it says. I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon the whole world to try them that dwell upon the earth. All right. So hey, you say that you believe in the Most High, and you think that, you believe that He's going to provide and protect for you and everything else like that. Well, we'll see when Let's read this real quick. Revelation 13 and 16. And he causeth all, both small and great. Well, Salak, let me go back. That great temptation. You speaking on, I believe that the Most High is going to provide for me and everything. Oh, God, how they be saying, God this, God that. All right, well, we'll see if you really, we seen the pre-runner of this. All right, you was believing in God beforehand, but then all of a sudden you went out there and got that juicy juice. What was your belief and your faith in God at that point in time? So we already know if you went out there with that juicy juice, all right, how you going to be when you can't afford nothing out here, man? They're gonna make up all these excuses. I don't think God want me to be out here suffering and not being able to eat and everything else like that. They've already used that excuse once, so we know that they're gonna use this excuse again. But as this global economic collapse is coming upon the whole world, all right, it's bringing them into this point in time where it says Revelation 13 and 16, and he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or on their forehead, and that no man might buy or sell save he that have the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. And here is wisdom. Let him that hath to understand and count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. And going into this, this is going, this time that we're coming into as far as this global economic collapse, are just bringing them, Esau to the end of this thing. We see the measuring the times diligently in itself, man. I write about how, how do I put it? How do I say? All ye mighty men, or basically they all gather themselves for war. What is that? Joel. All right. All ye mighty men come down to the battle of Yahweh Shaphat. But nevertheless, let the weak say I'm strong. That's what it is. You've seen all these nations are preparing themselves, man. All right. They're getting ready for war. All right. We can see that that's on one end. All right, you see this MOTB being prepared for another end, or the problem reaction solution for that. All right, the problem is that we can't afford anything. There's an economic collapse. The reaction is, oh well. The problem is you got the wars and the rumors of wars. All right, let's read that real quick. And Second Ezra 16 and 17. Woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? The beginning of sorrows, all right, and great mourning. All right, and we had those times with the pandemics and the plagues and the pestilence. All right, everybody was all scared, and it started the downturn of the economy. Well, so they say. That was a cover up because it's been going on before that with the gig-like economies, the Ubers and the Uber Eats, the Lyft, and all those different app-based jobs that was coming out. It says the beginning of sorrows and great mourning, the beginning of famine and great death. All right, it says in the beginning of wars. All right, so in the middle of these here wars, you got shipping, trade routes being blockaded. All right, you got the rise of shortages of foods and crops and things like that. All right, you got sanctions and things like that. That's also causing how do I say, your buying power to go up. Inflation and things like that, man. All right, so you have all these different famines and things coming up upon the earth. All right, the beginning of wars and the power shall stand in fear. The beginning of evils, what shall I do when these evils shall come? Verse 19, behold, famine and plague and tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for an amendment. All right. And, you have all these things, from the time that the pandemic started, you would have thought that, these people, they were getting quiet at that point in time. But then guess what? They started bouncing back. They say, oh, this is the new year. We're going to bounce back. We're going to definitely live our best life now. We're not going to be living in fear. We're about to start doing things that we ain't never done before because we can't be living like this no more. And then guess what? They got their stimmy packages and everything else like that. They started balling out and everything else like that. Like the article we was reading, they said that, hey, the majority of these people thought that, at least at the beginning of the year, things was going to be getting better, but now they see that it's actually not. So it says, well, let me skip verse 20 and jump 21. It says, behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon the earth that they shall think themselves in a good case. All right. And that's, we were reading about that. They thought that the year was going to start off a lot better. They was getting them stimulus packages and everything else like that. All right. It says, even then shall evils grow upon the earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. All right. So as all these things started coming upon the earth, verse 19 again, behold, famine and plague and tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for an amendment. These was sent for you to repent from your wicked ways. But what are they out there doing, man? What are they out there marching for and protesting for right now? The Supreme Court overturning. What are they really trying to get at out there? What do they want the freedoms to do? All right, what do these women want? They want to be free and liberated and everything else like that. What are these women been able to achieve in their so-called freedoms and liberties that they got? They be Tatianas, be Only Star fans. They all want to be sex workers and everything else like that. And on top of that, they want to pretty much be able to have the right to abort as many children as they want to, man. All right, not have to have no man as they hedge, but hey, the Lord is about to give you all that you asked for, man. all your different delusions and things like that. Hey man, you want to be able to get rid of your children. Hey man, you're gonna be resulting to eating your children soon, man. All right, this is how bad things are gonna be. But hey, from all these things, verse 19. Behold, famine, plagues, and tribulation, and anguish are sent for scourges for an amendment. But for all these things, they should not turn from their wickedness, nor always be mindful of the scourges. All right. So hey, they're not gonna be mindful of these things are sent for them to turn around. You would think that in the time like that they didn't see in the last couple years, we're just overturning right now and things is going on, they would just be silent over it. You know what? Maybe we should stop and turn around from the wicked things that we're doing. Maybe all these things wouldn't be happening unto us. But no, they're being encouraged by everybody. Every voice that you hear right now is encouraging or saying that this was a bad thing to happen and we need to help these women and so on and so forth and all these different things out. But hey, man, this is how it all ends. All right. It says, verse 22. But for many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine, and other shall escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. So it's going to be hard out here for a lot of these people, man. A lot of these people are about to be feeling it when it comes to the let me see, I guess 6 and 22. Yeah, when they hear about these famines and the rising price of food. 2 Esdras 6 and 22. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, and the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. And the trumpet shall give a sound, which every man heareth, they shall be suddenly afraid. And at that time shall friends fight against one another like enemies. And the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. And the springs of the fountain shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. So hey, it's coming into a point in time where you have a great. Let me grab this other precept. Ecclesiastes 12, just getting to the point. Ecclesiastes 12 and 3. In the days when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out the window be darkened, and the doors be shut in the streets, when the sound of grinding is low, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. All right, now the grinding is starting to cease. All right, this storehouses are being found empty. All right, basically the strong men are bowing themselves, man. This, the heads of the houses, the people the economic folks and everybody else that's that know what is really going on with economies and things like that. They looking at the future here, reading about how Janet Yellen said that, we don't think we're gonna go into or a recession is inevitable, but these other economists, nah, bro, we going into a recession. Deutsche Bank's talking about something. Hey, we about to go into a global economic recession, man. All right, a global economic collapse, man. So they see that these things are coming, man. But yet and still, America's is dwelling carelessly and everything else like that, man. All right. It's indicative to how do the scriptures say, basically, equating America to a queendom, more or less, the great whore. All right. It's a very feminine spirit in this here place, man. And how do, females react? They react emotional. So they're more worried about what makes them feel good, not worried about the logical things. Hey, man, logically, we can't afford all these things. We don't give a damn about your feelings and how you feel about this. We got to be able to eat. All right. But they're not worried about these things. All right. They're out here blinded with the scenarios that's going on around them. All right. Let's read this. Isaiah chapter 24 and verse 7. It says, the new wine mourneth, the vine languish, and all the merry hearted do sigh. All right, how they were saying about 2/3 of these people are worried about how they're gonna make their day-to-day ends meet. All right, 2/3 of these people out here is worried about their financial future, man. All right, how they're gonna have a retirement plan, if they're gonna be able to go on vacations, send their kids to college, have health care. All right, where they're gonna be living at next year, or whether they're gonna have to sell their house, or what's gonna be happening, man. All right. The new wine mourneth, the vine languish, all the merry hearted do sigh. The mirth of tabrets ceaseth, and the noise of them that rejoice endeth. The joy of harps ceaseth. Just now you're starting to see some of these things come back. I know that I was reading, I believe it was in St. Pete, where they said after 2 years they were able to have their little first pride parade in 2 years because of the things that was going on. But hey, like scripture say, pride go before a fall. All right, you got a lot of this wickedness that's coming up. But again, like we just read, all these things were sent for their amendments. But yet still they're not going to turn from these things. They're going to just double down. It says, the new wine mourneth, the vine languish, all the merry hearted do sigh. The mirth of tabrets ceaseth, the noise of them that rejoice endeth, the joy of harps ceaseth. It says, they shall not drink wine with a song, strong drink shall be bitter to them that drink it. All right. And so, hey, a lot of this mirth in this here place is gone, man. A lot of these so-called clubs and hot spots, people celebrating and rejoicing, it's all going down the pipeline. You would have people that, let's just say, in the past times they get married and have a huge reception and party and things like that. Nowadays, like, well, we can't quite afford these things. We're just getting a little small backyard wedding. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to just have some people come over to the house and we're going to celebrate that way. You know what I'm saying? Or a little Becky and Brian and graduate, and we just gonna have a couple people over at the house. Or hell, a lot of these people still, don't want to gather because of the whole pandemic situation. Or hey, man, we just can't afford to be having providing all these goods and everything else like that or traveling. I had a guy tell me, one of my customers, talking about how his grandson was about to graduate. He's like, yeah, I got to make this here trip to so and so to see my grandson's graduation. I'm like, the price of gas is, you might, hey, it's the 2022. Now they got FaceTime. You might want to just FaceTime and have them stream that bad boy, and you can save you some gas to see it from here. He's like, yeah, I know, but I got to do what I got to do. I'm like, shit, that might be your last graduation you make it out to, because the price of these things is going on. A lot of people are trying to find different ways to get around these things, man. All right. It says, verse 10, the city of confusion is broken down and every house is shut up that no man may come in. All right. And you're starting to see these things again, where a lot of these businesses weren't able to bounce back. More and more businesses are cutting back on hours and things like that because, they're not making that kind of money to, they'll get into this argument. Oh, people aren't applying for jobs and things. And I was like, well, look, put it this way. If you can't afford groceries, you can barely afford groceries and gas and everything else like that. You think you really got the money to go sit at your local Applebee's, right? And go and eat, spend $40 on a meal there, where you can go spend you $40 at the grocery store and get, at least a meal for a couple days. All right, most people are like, well, I ain't really going to the Applebee's. Now, if you was going to the Applebee's and you were able to afford the meal, you think you was going to leave a decent tip? It's like, nah. So you got less amount of people coming to the Applebee's to sit down and eat, and even less amount of tips being left for the people who are going in there and eat. All right, now if I was a server or something like that, only getting paid, a couple dollars an hour or so, because they get paid off of tips and everything. Now we have less people coming in. All right, and less people tipping anyway because they can't afford all these different things. You think I'm going to be able to sit on the clock for 8 hours a day and not be able to make no money to pay my own rent? I got to go find a job somewhere else. So we're going to go ahead and leave the restaurant gig. So now we're even short-staffed there, causing, other rifts in the so-called ecosystem and things like that. So, hey, man, a lot of these places are shooting themselves in the foot and everything else like that, man. All right. It says, the city of confusion is broken down. Every house is shut up that no man may come in. There's a crying for wine in the streets. All joy is darkened. The mirth of the land is gone. All right. Again, going back to these parades, parties, and, all the things that people was doing and everything else like that. People like, yeah, I will go, but shit, it's kind of expensive. Do I spend $200 on this concert ticket to go see this concert? Or do I put that in the bank for when we're going to go get some groceries and gas and everything else like that just to make it to work? Or they didn't raise the rent, so many dollars and everything else like that. I ain't got that extra money to go out here and go do all these different things. The article they was talking about, we don't know if we're going to be able to take vacation or our savings. We don't know if we're going to be able to save money no more, man. All right, so the mirth of the land is gone. Going to Disney World and your theme parks and things like that, man, you're seeing less and less and less people going out there because why? If people are struggling at the gas pumps, and if people are struggling in the grocery store, and people are struggling with their housing and things like that, how much more do you think people got money for these luxuries in life right about now, man? All right. It says the city is left desolation and the gates are smitten with destruction. All right. So, hey, this is what you have going on. How you say, a domino effect of a crumbling economy, man. All right. Bringing this here place down to its needs. All right. But ultimately, this is all going to end with what? The MOTB. All right. That great temptation is coming upon the earth. All right. That problem, reaction, solution. All right. The problem is that, they've orchestrated, things that's going to trigger, how do I put it? A domino effect of things starting to crumble economically. All right. The reaction is people will say we can't afford these things. All right. The solution is, hey, take this here MOTB and we'll wind up taking care of you. Look at Iran. They got the digital voucher already over there for what? Bread. Now they're trying to extend it to other things out there, man. All right. But I'm going to go ahead and close out with that. Lord willing, the elect was edified with this here lesson. Until next time, I say, call halal Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rakak Wadash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders, a great millstone and taught us his truth, and ever will. And salutation and much love for you, Akim, pushing his truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Until next time, I say, stay strong. Shalom.